This is WPSL Port St. Lucie, the talk of the Treasure Coast.
You're listening to WSTU Stewart.
Very pleasant good evening. It is 6:08 at WPSL 1590, the talk of the Treasure Coast, and WSTU, Martin County's heritage station, serving the Treasure Coast since 1954. Is that your age? Oh, here's Tom Kindred.
Yes, 54 sounds familiar. Yes. I wish that was my age. Yes. Welcome to another segment and installment of Small Biz Florida, the podcast and broadcast that's all things business across the Treasure Coast and the entire state of Florida. Small Biz Florida is brought to you by the Florida Small Business Development Center Network and is produced by the Florida SBDC right here at Indian River State College. Small Biz Florida is designed and produced to highlight and promote business assistance resources, celebrate entrepreneurial success, present best practices, and most importantly, provide timely business information for Florida's small business owners and operators. I am Tom Kindred, and I serve as the Regional Director for the Florida SBDC at IRSC. And in my 56 years, I have the scars of small business ownership. So for me, the mission of this program is simple and clear. Make sure small business owners are aware of all the powerful business assistance programs available to help them start, grow, and succeed. Greg, how are things? We are in the studio. We are live. We are social. Well, maybe we're not practicing that one, but
we're masked.
We've got masks.
We are masked.
That's right.
So if anybody from the Sheriff's Department is driving around, we're legal.
We are legal. Yes, we are legal here tonight in the studio, which is very uncommon. Normally, we're illegal here in the studio.
Saw the mag. Very nice.
Well, I wanted to make sure that people knew our what we're calling the summer issue is out. Treasure Coast Business Magazine, another incredible publication, brought to you through a partnership of Indian River Magazine and the Florida SBDC at Indian River State College. And again, the reason I want to make sure that I talk about, in fact, I want to talk just quickly about the spring 2020 issue and the summer issue. If you can get your hands on one or both, there really is some good information in both of these magazines about small business, about resiliency, about hanging in there, some tips. There is actually an article in this issue of the magazine, the summer issue, about how to complete the PPP EZ form. It's a very detailed article, page 29. So how to apply for that loan forgiveness. And our good friend Jerry Detweiler, who is with NAV, really very detailed article, 3 pages of detailed how to get through that PPP forgiveness application.
That's great. Yeah.
Again, there's some good stuff, and then in the middle of this magazine, there is there's a guide, as there was in the last issue. There is a guide about business resiliency with some tips, for business owners, just like there was last time. So again, I would encourage you to pick up the summer 2020 issue. Again, got great articles in it about some of the loans and got the guide to business resiliency in times of disaster. Talks about cash flow, pricing and cost containment, supply chain management, marketing. So again, and as I always say, if you'll call me at the SBDC, 772-336-6285, I'll see to it that you get a copy of the magazine if you can't find one. And if you want a copy of the spring issue, which had I think it was an 8-page small business guide to COVID-19 tips to do right now to stay afloat. I'll be happy to get you copies of both issues. But again, another good issue, another good publication, and we want to thank really cannot thank Greg Inns and his team at Indian River Magazine, the designer, the production people, the writers. Again, just did another standout job of putting this piece together. My letter to the editor, I paid a little tribute to our outgoing president, Dr. Massey, who has always led the college with an entrepreneurial mindset. So I talk a little bit about that in the letter. So again,
he's going to have to come back when they finish the advanced manufacturing building.
of course, I will tell you, he will probably be front and center.
Got to, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, good stuff there. I also wanted to very quickly, I wanted to just talk about upcoming. We've got some Facebook advertising in COVID by Leanna Haig, our standout digital media specialist, going to give that a webinar on Wednesday, July the 22nd. We've got Patrick Arcement, a great instructor with CCTI, is doing leadership through tough times. Excellent webinar. That will take place also Wednesday the 22nd. And then, what does sex mean? New developments in employee discrimination law by the Honorable Thomas Epsky. That'll take place Thursday the 23rd. You can register for those webinars at Florida SBDC at IRSC. So got three great instructors with three great topics coming up in July. And as always, I just want to make sure that everybody, you can always check out the podcast, which last week we had, again, some more good COVID updates. We'll be talking to the Black Business Investment Fund about some minority lending on the podcast. We had Nav on talking about, again, the PPP, the reopening of the PPP loan. So the podcast has got some good information on it too, 25, 30-minute shows, so easy to listen to, easy to get through. You can always find those online. Just type in Small Biz Florida, podbean.com.
When are we going to have, instead of webinars, actual on-campus?
Well, there you go. There's the big question.
That's $94,000.
Who knows? We're going to try to get back live here hopefully one day, but that's still tough right now to even tell.
Yeah.
I think most colleges and universities are still kind of on the fence now. Do we go hybrid? Do we go blended? Do we go all online? So, we will follow the college lead at CCTI and SBDC in terms of gathering people up. So right now, probably no gathering, but hopefully we'll soon be there.
Cool.
All right. So with that, tonight I got two great guests. I can't wait to get into our discussions. To start us off tonight, we've got our very good friend, very good, strong supporter of the Florida SBDC. I welcome this young lady because she understands who we are and what we do, and she keeps us in the loop in Okeechobee County. We've got our very good friend, Megan Smith, who serves as the president and CEO of the Okeechobee County Economic Development Corporation. Welcome to the show, Megan.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks for having me.
And we're going to talk first to Megan, but after Megan, we've got another very good friend of mine, a standout student in the IRSC School of Business. He is a working man. He's a student. He's an intern. He does it all. Our good friend, Kyle Kauffman. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Let's get started real quick with you, Megan. Lots to talk about in Okeechobee, but as always, kind of start us off a little bit with your background, your pathway to the position of president and CEO of the Okeechobee EDC.
Oh, wow. That's kind of a long one, so I'll
You
try to
can't-
do it abbreviated.
Can't be that long, Megan. You're not that old. Can't be that long.
Yeah, I'm older than you, Tom. Well, I started off actually with a computer science degree working in electronic warfare a long, long time ago. So that's probably something that a lot of people don't know and might not suspect. And I took about 10 years off to raise my kids. And then when I went back to work as a chamber president in the Middle Georgia area. and did that for 10 years and went back to school and got my master's degree and decided that, my kids were grown and out of the house. And I said, well, I'm going to go to D.C. and work up there for a while. So did that for 5 years and was sitting up there one night when we were snowed in, and a friend of mine said, hey, I have a job for you down in coastal Alabama. And I'd always wanted to be at the beach, so I applied for that job and did that job for about 2 years, and then decided that, it was time to look for something else. And I had fallen in love and gotten married with my now husband, who lived in Florida, and we decided to relocate down here after I found the job down here.
Nice. Well, we're glad he brought you down here.
I'm glad to be here.
Okeechobee is, a community I really have a lot of fondness for. I love Okeechobee. When you grew up in Fort Pierce, I spent a lot of time in Okeechobee. Had an uncle who owned a business in Okeechobee, so we were constantly over in Okeechobee. And what's so interesting to me now is that as I look back on it, what we thought was just this long adventure to Okeechobee on that little 2-lane 70, back in those days, now is really, we almost are really one big community. Really. Right. And it's funny you say you like the beach. My gosh, you can live in Okeechobee and enjoy the beach.
That's right.
It really is. We're kind of, with the expansion and the renovation and the updating of State Road 70, it's really pretty easy, and which is what I love. We've really almost become one. Anything that's going on, you include us in Okeechobee, and we always make sure you're involved over here. So we really are kind of one big community now that's just too easy to get to and from. So, and it is a great community. Talk a little bit about, as most people, especially over here on the coast, probably still think of Okeechobee as kind of a, an agricultural community, obviously very big, for years in the dairy industry. But, things are changing over there. There are other opportunities. There's things going on. Talk a little bit about the marketplace. What is the new Okeechobee all about today?
Well, one of the things that you mentioned is our location, right? It used to be a little bit longer to get here. It used to take a little bit longer to get to the West Coast. A lot of my projects are people who are looking to be more in the center of the state. And if you look at Okeechobee, we're just situated perfectly because we're at the confluence of several different state highways. And 70 is one that, now that it's 4-lane divided highway, it's very, very easy to drive on. It's 65 miles per hour the majority of the way. There are no lights. It's really very little traffic. So,
it's like a parkway.
Yeah,
just like a parkway. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So a lot of the projects that I'm working on are looking at Okeechobee because of where it's located. Because they can expand their business base by being there, and several of them are leaving Miami, and I suspect that with COVID-19 and things of that nature, that we will continue to have businesses move more to rural areas.
How does the lake, Lake Okeechobee, play into the to the strategy? Tourism still a big part of the city of Okeechobee, kind of drawn by the lake. Is that still a big part of what happens over there?
Tourism is still big in Okeechobee. People still go fishing on the lake and take their airboats on the lake and use the lake a lot. So and it's a great asset to the community. The messaging out there isn't always accurate.
Right.
So, we're trying to do things to help that situation. We actually have a video coming out, not the corporation, but just Okeechobee in general. Right. That is more of an infomercial. It's going to be out on PBS, and nice. It'll just talk more about all the different things that Okeechobee does have to offer. The wide open spaces, all of the outdoor activities. The lake has a track almost all the way around it. You have to come off. I mean, so people bike on there, people run on there, and I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a pretty big sidewalk that goes all the way from Fort Pierce all the way into Okeechobee. You can ride your bike on that. So there's a lot of outdoor activities, a lot of hunting clubs if you're into shooting, and I mean they're actually like golf courses for hunting, for for shooting. So we have several of those. It is still big ag. There's rodeos that still are going on, so lots of kids come in and take part in those kind of activities, or they did before all of this. So definitely still a touristy area, not as much as beaches are, but I mean, we do have the second largest lake in the United States in our community. So
what about talking about amenities and economic development? I know you've actually brought us over the SBDC to work with some folks that are looking to relocate to the airport. I mean, I think some big things have kind of happened at the Okeechobee County Airport. Talk a little bit about that airport and the facilities there.
Yeah, Adam is the airport manager over there. He and I got hired just about the same time. I think he was a little bit before I was, and he's just doing some really, really great things over there. There's an industrial park over there, and so we actually have a company, Biotech USA, is out of Guatemala, and they are bringing over a dry process for molded cement. And the equipment will be the first of its kind in the United States. And considering the fact that we have a lot of erosion and we need that kind of stuff, and it's a really neat process. So they are going to be, they've bought a building in the Airport Industrial Park. They are in the middle of renovations right now. We also have another building that one of our local farmers, I think, Tom, you and I talked about this one last time. The Milking Our Ranch is going to be leasing a building out there at the Airport Industrial Park. And they are going...
Is that the one with the blends?
Well, that's the one with the craft milk. I was
going to ask you about this. Talk to us about the craft milk now. You got to hear this. It's great.
Yeah, I think it's just really a really neat project. I love the fact that I'm getting to work on it. I love the fact that it's an existing industry that we're helping to grow and diversify.
Right.
So they're a smaller, dairy farm, but they are looking into and have going to lease the building out there at the Airport Industrial Park, and they'll process their own milk, and they'll actually put it in bottles that will be returnable, and it'll be flavored milks. So, in fact, they've already...
I'm telling you, radio show guest, we're going to have this gentleman on. I can't wait to get him on.
We've got to get them on, because they are doing some really neat things, and even through COVID, they were making their own ice cream, and they would put it out on Facebook, and they would sell out so quick. And the way they did it is they would say, okay, these are the flavors. You would order what flavors and tell them what time you were going to pick it up, so that everybody could, social distance and stuff. And it just exploded. Wow. And so we're really excited to be working with him.
Wow.
Because we produce the most milk in the state,
but
we don't process any of it.
I was going to ask about the dairy industry. Still as strong as it always was over there? Maybe consolidated some ownership, bigger dairies? How's that?
Yeah, and it's probably not as strong as it used to be, but we still have, as I said, we still produce the most milk in the state of Florida. We just don't process any of it.
Right.
Another really exciting project to me is one that's going to be taking place on one of the dairies, actually 4 different dairy farms, is Brightmark, which is an energy company, and they do renewable energies and stuff. They are going to be building 4 biodigesters out on the milk farm, so they'll take the byproducts from the cows, and they'll process it in a biodigester, and then they'll process it into natural gas. And then it'll get piped directly into the natural gas pipeline. So it's a very, very clean process. It's going to be great for the farm. It's going to be great for the community and great for just the whole area. And you know, we all love green. And so it's really neat to see that, that project take off as well.
I know that since you've been there, you guys have obviously developed some plans, looked at long-term plans. Didn't you have kind of a strategic planning workshop and kind of lay some things out? Talk a little bit about the planning portion of what you've done.
Well, there was a study done back in 2018, I think, by Polycom, and they were the ones that identified several things. It was done for the whole county, but that is how the Okeechobee County Economic Development Corporation was formed.
Nice.
He said that you guys really need somebody who gets up every day and all they do is think about how to diversify the economy here, how to bring new industries and help our existing industries grow. So that's what started the whole process of creating the corporation. So it's fairly new.
Thanks to the strategic plan, we have Megan now. I like it.
Somebody actually did something with that strategic plan, didn't they?
They did. We actually pulled that off the shelf and made something happen. Megan is here. Megan, again, I can't thank you enough for always looping us in, and you're doing great work over there. Let's talk now quickly about where we are today. Unfortunately, everything circles back to COVID. Counties, the municipalities now, the smaller municipalities are beginning to receive their CARES Act funding. Counties are having to create budgets and plans to utilize and deploy this money into the community. Talk a little bit about the county's plan and how we're going to, what our show's dedicated to small business here. How are we going to use some of those funds in Okeechobee to help small business?
Well, the money that's coming down from the CARES Act through the state has pretty clearly defined what you can use it for. And one of the things, luckily, that you can use it for is to help small businesses. And our county, Okeechobee County, the county commission, decided that they wanted to use the majority of the money that they've received to help small businesses. And what they basically did is they came to the corporation and they said, could you help us with this? And of course we said yes, because we want to help our small businesses too.
Right.
That's always a big thing, business retention in any community. And so one of the things that was really, really important to the commission was that we focus on those businesses that were forced to close due to no fault of their own. And a lot of these businesses are small mom and pop businesses. They closed, so they really were not able to go after PPP. They are sole proprietors, so they a lot of them can't even get unemployment, unless they went after the. So they're really hurting. Even the restaurants, even though they could be open, we all know that takeout is not going to carry a restaurant. Even at 50% capacity, that's tough. I mean, we got to turn those tables over. So they were really focused on those people, the people who were forced to close, the salons, the nail technicians, right. the restaurants, the bars, the gyms, all of those small businesses that America's made from. Right? And they provide services for all of us that we, want to continue to use. So that was really the focus of the CARES grant. And we went live last Friday. We've had about 130 people, businesses apply. And we have processed or, gone through and made sure that everybody had everything that they needed. Probably about 50 so far. If we do have money once we process the ones for the people who were forced to close and they met the specific guidelines, right. The county commission will look at relaxing some of those
eligibility.
Right. I mean, even though hotels were not required to close, they still were hurt.
Right.
So there are little things like that the county commission may come back and say, well, if we still have the money, because the point is to give that money to the small businesses to help them survive.
I mean, obviously sounds like you guys really did a nice job with the county. Give them some credit, too, for really thinking through it, making the most of the dollars. So eligibility is really for those that were kind of forced to close. Is there a max on the request?
Well, we actually, and counties are doing it different all over. But what we did was we had two levels. There's a $5,000 level, and that's mainly for your sole proprietors. That's for like the hairstylist who they don't own the business, but they come to work and. Now they can't come to work.
They have a chair, maybe.
Right. They rent a chair. So they're eligible for the $5,000, and those were the ones that really they didn't get unemployment. They didn't. Right. They didn't get anything. And then the other level was $7,500, and those were for all of those people who owned the business. They might not own the building, but they still had rent to pay and water to pay and electric to pay and the taxes and all that kind of stuff. So those were the two categories. You couldn't have more than 25 employees, so we set it at that limit. You couldn't be publicly traded, so it was really, really meant for our locally owned businesses that were hit hardest.
Right. All right. And how does the application process work? Is it online, county's website, or paper applications? How does one apply for the loan?
It is on the corporation's, the Okeechobee County Economic Development Corporation's website. There's a yellow banner, just like everybody else has nowadays, that says COVID, and you can click on that, and it'll take you through the guidelines. And then there's another button that you can click, and it'll take you through the application, which is all online.
Give us that email address or the website address.
It is OCEDcorp.com.
Okay.
So it's the first letter, Okeechobee County Economic Development Corporation.
Got it.
.com. So OCEDcorp.com. And the application itself is pretty simple. You answer, a couple of questions, you upload some documentation, and you hit submit, and then we get the an email, and you should get an email as well. If you've applied, you will get an email that says, that it's been submitted, and then we review it and make sure that all the documentation is there. And if it isn't, we're calling people and we're saying, hey, or maybe it's just that we can't read it because it was a picture and not very good quality or something.
Right.
And then we're taking it over to the county, and the county then will actually administer the money. They're the ones that are actually going to cut the check, and they'll mail it to the business.
And these are grants, not loans, so there is no repayment, requirement on these. These are strictly grants to help the business thrive, survive, get through this thing.
Right. There are some compliance, as you know, Tom.
Yes.
So, but it's like I used to tell my kids all the time. Anytime somebody gives you money, I don't care who it is, they expect something from you.
Right.
Your employer expects something from you. If you get money from the state or whatever, then they're going to expect something from you too. So the compliance is that you do have to, by September 30, I think, or maybe it's by September maybe 25th. I can't remember the exact date, but it's on the thing. You have to show us how you spent the money.
Okay.
And some of the federal government is requiring that too. So, it trickles down. The federal government's telling the state you have to prove it, and the state's telling the counties you have to prove it. So, and then the other thing, and I'm very happy that the county commission did this. The other thing, as you know, is we made a requirement that you had to become a client of SBDC. One of the services that you guys provide is disaster preparedness.
That's right.
Now, everybody might not need that, but some businesses may need something more basic than that.
Right.
But they felt strongly, and I feel strongly about that as well, that if you don't, learn something from this, then what's going to happen, the next time? And it doesn't have to be a pandemic. It can be a hurricane. It can be, a multitude of things. So.
Or a hurricane and a pandemic.
Yeah. Shh! Don't put that out in the universe now.
Yeah, bad karma there, Greg.
Yeah.
Well, and again, we certainly appreciate the opportunity to serve your organization, serve Okeechobee County, and most importantly, serve the Okeechobee County small business community. And to your point, look, there's no cost for our consulting services. Hopefully these businesses have gotten $5,000 or $7,500. You know what? Let's have a conversation about how you're going to spend it, how best to maybe spend it. Like I tell folks all the time, we've got a very good group of savvy, experienced business people that possess really great business acumen. Use them.
Right.
Talk to them. Come up with a plan. Like you say, how do we get through this? And then once we're through this, how do we thrive and prepare ourselves for, potentially another, slow down or potentially better times. How do we get prepared for both?
Well, and you guys have all the classes to help teach them how to do stuff online. I mean, I think we all realize now that if you don't have an online presence, it's going to be a whole lot harder to survive.
Megan, it's great work that you're doing in Okeechobee. We are just so pleased to have you in our community along the Treasure Coast in Okeechobee with your experience doing great things. You're located on the college campus. We're happy to have you as part of the IRSC family right there on the Dixon-Hendry campus.
Oh, it was definitely a selling feature for me because it's a great relationship. The provost over there, Russ Brown.
Well, I was just going to mention Russ Brown is
always. Anytime I need him, when I have a project or something come in, unfortunately we don't have a lot of incentives here in Florida.
Right.
And I use the college, for those training opportunities quite a bit.
I can assure you, Mr. Brown, Russ keeps Bob and I and our team on our toes. He is a great advocate for Okeechobee County, great advocate for the campus over there. So he has got. It's usually a weekly idea that he has of some program that should be and needs to be launched over there. So he certainly keeps us thinking and keeps us innovative all the time. So yes, he's
awesome.
Yep.
The whole staff over there has just been wonderful it's been wonderful to be on that campus.
Tell us one more time the website to make sure that we get that out there. If you are a small business, less than 25 employees, you were forced to close in Okeechobee, you need to try to take advantage of this program.
That's
right. You can get to the application at
OCEDcorp.com.
All right. Megan, again, thank you so much for what you're doing, and we want to make you a regular guest. Can you come on monthly for the Okeechobee Report with Megan Smith?
I'm happy to come anytime you'd like, Tom.
Well, but your homework tonight is we've got to line up.
We've got to line up Milking R.
Milking R. I cannot wait because number one, I am definitely a milk drinker. I can't wait. I want him to bring some samples that night.
And they're actually they actually started processing some through another processor, a smaller one, and they're selling it at Mosquito Creek, the little grocery store there.
So if somebody maybe just went out there and Googled Milking Our Farms, maybe specialty milks, it might pop up, and they
have a Facebook page.
Oh, yeah. They do. Okay.
Yeah, they have a Facebook page. So I love that product.
Kyle, you're shaking your head as if you tried this milk and ice cream. Have you?
I have tried the ice cream, and it is absolutely incredible. It is.
All right,
it is the way to go.
Now, you're lucky because I hear a lot of people in Okeechobee say they can't even get it. Every time by the time they get to the Facebook page to say they're going to get some, it's gone.
Trust me, this is why we got Kyle on tonight. Very savvy young man here, right? Very savvy young man. So anyway, Megan, we really appreciate what you're doing over there. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for your dedication, your hard work, and help me get Milk and R on the show. And
okay, we can do that.
And with that, we are going to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with our good friend and standout IRSC School of Business student, Mr. Kyle Kauffman. And we are back. This is Small Biz Florida, the podcast and broadcast that's all things business across the Treasure Coast and the entire state of Florida. I am Tom Kindred. Small Biz Florida is produced right here at Indian River State College through the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute. And if you're just joining us, we just had a great conversation with our very good friend, Mrs. Megan Smith, who serves as the president and CEO of the, I got to get this right now, Okeechobee County Economic Development Corporation. So,
And folks think it's sleepy out there? Hardly. There's a lot going on.
there's a lot going on in Okeechobee, I can tell you. Just
Yeah.
go over there one day. There's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah. That's a great story.
Megan is always very good about making sure that people know about the SBDC in Okeechobee. And again, we've got a great provost over there, Mr. Russ Brown, who
He's the best.
thoroughly understands our program, knows the power of these resources, and always keeps us in the loop over there too. So got with us now, as we did, I think last week, we had another student on with us. We've got another IRSC School of Business student with us tonight. This young man is, I'm telling you, it's hard to believe he's actually has time to be a student because he does an awful lot. But Kyle is a student, and he is also serving this semester. I think, Kyle, you're wrapping things up, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yep. Come August, I will be totally wrapped up with IRSC student.
Yes, and you are getting your...
I'll have my bachelor's in business administration.
Nice, Kyle. Good work. Kyle is serving this semester, which I don't even know. I don't even know what semester we're in. What are we in, Kyle? Summer A, I guess?
I think it's technically the full summer. I don't know if
Okay.
they call it A,
Okay.
B, or C.
So we're in the summer semester. I didn't even know spring ended, but summer is here. So Kyle is serving as an intern with us here with the CCTI, doing some great work. But Kyle is also part of a program that we did, so we want to talk a little bit about that. But Kyle, just kind of start off a little bit. You're a local young man, born and raised in Fort Pierce. Talk a little bit about some of your work experience. You also kind of excelled at skeet shooting, if I'm calling it sport shooting, calling it the right sport. Talk a little bit about your background and you know, your pathway here at IRSC School of Business.
Well, thanks. So a little bit about myself. Born and raised in Fort Pierce. I've been very a coastal, water-driven person a lot of my life. Got involved in early high school into the shooting of sporting clays, and I seemed to excel in that very well. I turned into going to the national championships, winning a couple titles, having a couple sponsors. I was considered a master shooter before the age of 16. I did have a separate scholarship to go to a college on that, which I went for a little while, went for a year, and it just wasn't what it turned out to be, so decided to come back home.
Nice.
But since coming back home, I did work at a club in Okeechobee. I was a shooting pro there. It's called Pine Creek. It's a private club, which now I have led into, I do property management. I actually work for which was a member out there. He has a private ranch out there, so I manage a 700-acre ranch.
Nice.
So it definitely keeps me busy, which as well as I do have my 100-ton master's captain's license.
Nice.
So
100-ton. Wow, that's a big
So
ship.
like I say, I have no idea when Kyle went to school. I guess you went from midnight till 5 in the morning.
somewhere in there.
You know, talk to us a little bit about the School of Business, Kyle. I mean, you've actually gotten your 4-year degree. There's multiple offerings in the School of Business. You can get an AS 2-year degree, but you've gotten your 4-year degree. So I mean, you've really dedicated yourself to school. Talk a little bit about the school. You know, class size, and then talk about the capstone program. I mean, the internship. I mean, you really do get the opportunity, and of course, you were already out in the real world working. How did all that kind of come together? Did the school help in the real world? Did the real world help in the school? How did all that kind of come together for you?
It all kind of came together very simultaneously. First off, everybody in the School of Business is absolutely incredible. And I believe because it being the School of Business, they do understand if you are a working student. They definitely work with you and help accommodate you the best they can, which in my opinion is something that is invaluable almost. As far as the class sizes go, I mean, I felt the class sizes were a great size, not too large. I didn't feel like an ant on the wall. I still felt like a personal connection between the teachers and the students, and vice versa with the kids. Everybody kind of would try to help each other out the best they can and keep it as a good environment as they can. But going in through, definitely saw through the progression of my classes, saw a change with how all the kids you'd see definitely some drop off, but then you ended up having your core of kids that were really all like-minded. Which is kind of a very interesting thing. Definitely have made connections with some of them in the more professional world through other things I've done, which definitely I feel like definitely helps. But as far as my internship in the capstone program, this semester with the COVID thing, they did not offer the traditional capstone program, which my understanding was more of a project to work with a small business. They couldn't really offer it because we couldn't really all meet together effectively. So my options were either do an internship or write a thesis paper. Personally, I think the internship's the way to go all day long, just because of just the experience. And then when I was kind of feeling it out and found out that the SBDC and CCTI was an option to work with, I was like, that's a no-brainer. That's where I'm going.
Of course.
So hung up the phone, gave Tom a call and was like, hey, we need to put this together. I definitely want to work with you guys.
Well, I'm happy you made the call because, Kyle, you've done some great work for us. Talk about, for the majority of your, I think, as I've seen you on campus and working your way through your degree and your studies, I mean, most of what you did was really face-to-face classes. Did you kind of, as you said, capstone, you couldn't meet. Did you kind of get caught up in this COVID thing the last semester or two with having to go online? Is that what happened?
It definitely put me for a spin. Yeah, I personally like the face-to-face better for two reasons. Number one, I think it helps the students, especially myself, hold them a little bit more accountable. It's easier to blow off that online assignment, whereas I'm one of those people, well, they're sitting there expecting me to be there, so I should be there. That was a lot of help towards my success. But with the going to online, I just had to say to myself I had to dedicate a certain number of hours. I mean, like, okay, between here and here, it's schoolwork and nothing else. Put all the distractions away and just focus on schoolwork, which I was able to make the transfer, but it definitely took a little more effort.
Yeah. Now, you, besides being a student in the School of Business and besides working in the outside world, I mean, you also took the time to participate kind of in what was really a new opportunity through the CCTI, and we're glad you did. But you took the opportunity to get involved in the launch of what was called the Marine Training Class. So the CCTI is partnering with Yamaha outboard engines to launch and create a basic entry-level technology-type class to learn how to potentially get into the marine repair industry. Talk a little bit about the class, and then you obviously have a lot of experience in boating. Talk about what you see out there in terms of opportunities with that career.
Well, for starters, I feel like the class was an incredible class. Definitely learned quite a bit. I feel like it's something that our area as the Treasure Coast 100% needs. Kind of more on a personal experience, there are not enough good outboard mechanics. And truth be told, there are not enough good ones that can manage their time properly. Unfortunately, when we're this is an industry that's a leisure industry, and you definitely have your time where you can and can't use your boats.
Yeah.
And when something breaks, it's, no, I don't want to wait 6 weeks. No, I don't want to wait 3 weeks. It needs to be done yesterday.
No, Kyle, you bring up such a great point, and I remember those days when you'd take your boat in and they'd say 6 weeks, and you're like, 6 weeks? I was hoping I could use it this Friday or this Saturday. So, You're right. And again, you're a boat owner. It's got outboard engines on it. You've been around boats your whole life. I know your family, owns some larger, boating equipment. So you took the class. You saw what we're trying to do with the class, and you also connected, with the marketplace, knowing that there's a need out there. What would you tell folks that are kind of thinking about a career? Did they talk about the opportunities and the kind of, money a person could make in the industry?
We did talk about that, and we definitely tried to make a connection with the possibilities. I definitely believe that the possibilities that were displayed in the class are the sky is, I'm not going to say the limit, but you can definitely go as far as you want. The outboard industry is, you go through any area in the town, in the county, there's guaranteed at least 5 boats on every street. That's at a minimum. Right. Just about everybody has one, and all of them, 99% of them are outboards. I believe that the class we did a lot of things that definitely geared you towards stepping into, which is the part 2, hopefully coming soon of the class, which I will no question be participating in.
Nice. All right. And did you have to take some testing? Did you receive some level of certification with Yamaha in the class?
Yes, there was a at the end of the class we did have to take a test. You had to get, which I believe it was above an 80% on the test, which you could take it numerous times, but the questions were not the same. And then that gave you a certification of completion of that level of the class, which you can't bypass that certification. You can essentially take the test to bypass it if you're, say, above that, but you still have to you have to still pass the test to move on to the next level.
All right. Well, again, Kyle, really standout student here at Indian River State College. You have not only, I know your parents are proud, and as most parents are probably ready to see you walk and get that degree. So I know they're proud of you, and you really have done some very good work on your own accomplishments, and then done some very good work and represent the school well. And we appreciate you kind of being part of what really was a pilot program for CCTI. But to your point, I think it's a program that's needed for the community.
I would completely agree. I was super excited to hear about the program, and when I found out about it, it was kind of quick to the start. So definitely was a little bit kind of hurry up and get ready for it, but I was definitely ready for it. Right. As myself, I'm like I said, I have a captain's license, a U.S. Coast Guard captain's license of 100 ton. So I looked at it as I could definitely use that in my professional life as far as being able to maybe fix something on the fly, working for somebody with my freelance captaining, as well as if we need to for personal things, or possibly looking into maybe going into a small business into the outboard repair.
Now, we used to have a trawler that was 34 tons. So how big a ship would the 100 ton be?
So kind of a rule of thumb, 100 ton is 100 foot. That's just kind of a very ballparkish.
Mega yacht.
All of my time was really served on a 55-foot sport fish. I have more hours than I know what to do with on that. So that's where I got most of my hours, which you have to have so many hours. That's a 64-ton boat, I believe. So I got to have numerous hours over 50 ton to get your 100-ton rating.
Nice.
That's amazing.
All right, Kyle, you've done great work. We're proud of you as a student at Indian River State College. Keep up the good work. I know you're ready to wrap this up. So August, you are finished. You will have your degree.
Yes, sir.
And I know you're going to do great things. And we appreciate your help and support at the CCTI as you kind of complete the degree with your internship program. You're doing some great work with us at the CCTI. So we appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely. Kyle, congratulations and good luck. And with that, we will bring to close another segment of Small Biz Florida from the Dan K. Richardson Entrepreneurship Development Institute right here at Indian River State College. And for more information on all our programs, you can always visit that IRSC.biz. That's IRSC.biz. And get a complete listing of upcoming trainings and activities and all kinds of business assistance and resources through the Florida SBDC at IRSC. And with that, we will talk to you next Thursday evening on Small Biz Florida.
You're listening to Small Biz Florida right here on WPSL Port St. Lucie, Talk of the Treasure Coast, and WSTU Stewart, Martin County's Heritage Station.